We are currently at Ube Maids. We're doing the rear diffuser, and I know you guys are gonna be seeing that in a separate video, probably the video before this. But in this video, since we're here and since he's got plenty of time to be doing that, I figured better time than any, time to replace my spark plugs. While Mr. Ube Maid is doing the diffuser over there, this would be a perfect time to put these fresh new ones in. Obviously, always get NGK, guys, always get the OEMs. Those are the best. The reason I'm replacing is because of the fact that I have put this built engine in and I'm running the same spark plugs as my old engine. So I figured I'd put some fresh ones in and then gap them to the correct gapping that I did when I dyno tuned the car. That way everything is just performing efficiently, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been procrastinating on doing this. Whew, this engine bay is dirty. Now it may look kind of clean on camera, but there are a few little mishaps, that dust that I just got to clean off. We'll probably revisit that another day, but replacing these boys within definitely must. So the tools you're gonna need when replacing your spark plugs, and again, I only acknowledge or recommend that you do this if you feel confident in doing this. I'm gonna give you a guide on how. There are some things that you have to watch out for, like if you drop a spark plug in there and it shatters, well guess what, now you've just completely ruined your entire engine and you're gonna have to replace this whole thing. So I'm not saying that to discourage you guys, but it is one of the main things you gotta watch out for. I'm currently using my ratchet, I have my plugs, I have a magnetic tool to help me get the old spark plug out, and I'm using a 10 and a 5/8. I believe a 5/8 is what you're gonna need to use to loosen out your spark plug. So that's what we're gonna try. If it's not a 5/8, I'll let you guys know. So first off, we have these 10mm bolts that we need to unscrew right here. So we have our 10, and we're gonna get that, and we're gonna go ahead and make sure, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, gotta make sure. So that's tight, and that's loose. So you get on, and just start loosening. And there's one. The other thing that you want to do is basically do it one at a time. You don't want to keep them all open. I like to do them one at a time just to make sure that they're all closed, nothing gets in there. And then the other thing you gotta do is just unplug. So there's a top here. You want to go ahead and unplug and push, and now it's unplugged. Then this, you can go ahead and take the ignition coil and just pull it out like so. There you go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and leave that there, get our 5/8, and be very careful with this. So you should be able to fit it, and it should be able to go right in. This one does not fit, so I'm gonna have to choose a different size. I guess 5/8 is not the size, and let me correct myself and choose the correct size. So correction, I'm probably correcting myself in the previous one I said 5/8. You wanna use a 14mm. 14 will fit, just make sure it goes through the hole, and be, like I said, be very careful and make sure it's not righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and we can go ahead and loosen that guy. Now again, be very cautious and careful. If you end up over tightening it, you might break it and it will shatter. So just be very gentle with it when trying to loosen it out. It may take some force, but it will come off. There we go. That's when you know it's loose. And you can go ahead and proceed with taking it out. All right, and carefully you get out your old spark plug. Now this one, this one has been overdue for sure. I'll go ahead and give you guys a look at this one here. So you guys can see this one has gone through quite a beating. Again, this is from my blown engine. I have been procrastinating on replacing these. I know I may get roasted, but I know I've needed to replace these. So we're doing that today, guys. Do not worry. But yeah, as you guys can see, these are pretty much roasted. So with me here, I also have provided a gapping tool. You can get this at your local O'Reilly's or AutoZone. This isn't fully 100%, but this is better than nothing. So for me, I got to figure out what these old ones were gapped at, since I've gapped them differently than stock, and then do that for the rest of the new ones and then put those in. Otherwise, my car may misfire or have some certain issues if it's not the correct gapping. So one thing you want to make sure that you have the correct gaps. So when you put them back in, your car runs just like it did before, but with fresh plugs this time. All right, so I've gapped it off camera, but there's a bunch of gapping methods. You can just go ahead and YouTube that. I've done my gapping method. I've made sure it's the right gap. I've measured it to make sure. And so now what I like to do is I always like to put the ignition coil in when I'm gapping, just so that nothing gets in there. Then you want to go ahead and carefully put this in. I just do it by hand, and I slowly just kind of get my whole finger in there, have it at the edge, and wait till it's basically so low that you can drop it with your finger. It should be good. There we go. Perfect. You'd even hear it because it's literally the space between it and the floor was probably like this much, and then it just finished. So always be careful how you drop it. You don't just gonna let go and drop it in, because if it breaks in there, like I said, you're gonna have to probably replace your entire motor. After that's done, now righty-tighty, and just be very careful when tightening this, as it's, you know, it is your spark plug and you want to be gentle with it. So we're gonna go ahead, make sure we're getting it just at ease, and it doesn't mean to be super tight in there, just hand tight. Now, one thing is I don't need to add anti-seize. I know a few people are probably asking why I didn't add anti-seize to this spark plug. These are NGKs and they have recommended not to add anti-seize, so that is the reason I'm not adding anti-seize to the spark plug. So now we've got it in there and it's pretty tight. You just want to slide. Now I don't have a torque wrench or anything, but with this I'll just go ahead. I can feel it's kind of tight right there, so just quick turn, boom. I'd say that's enough. You don't need to do any more than that, and then take it out. After that, we'll go ahead and inspect your ignition coil. Make sure everything's correct on this. Make sure everything looks good on this. If you need to clean it out, and then we go ahead and proceed with putting it back. Again, just do the opposite. Make sure it's in. Grab your trusty 10mm here and put that 10mm bolt right back into its same position. We'll go ahead and replace our ratchets with the 10mm. And again, don't have to over tighten this, guys. You don't want to end up stripping one of your bolts. It's one of the worst feelings ever. Just go ahead and get it down where you feel it's flush, and that's it. That's good. And of course, don't forget to plug it in. And so now that we've done that, you're gonna do that for the rest of the three, and we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll start up the car. Now, to show you guys what I was doing earlier, again, use a 10mm to get this one out. This is your ignition coil, and on top of that, there's this little flap back here. You can just press that down and push. As you guys can see, it slides right off. So that's how you guys do it, nothing too difficult. All right, guys, so we've officially done all 4 spark plugs. I've made sure that everything is Loctite in there, not too tight, just enough, and then everything's plugged in. So before you start the car, make sure it's all plugged in, it's all tight and ready to go. And then as you guys can see here, the 4 old spark plugs, definitely long overdue. So we've gapped them all to the correct gap. We want to make sure that we're going to go ahead and start the car, make sure there's no misfires off the start, and if everything is good, then we should be good. Second test, of course, is driving. If you catch any misfires while you're driving, check your gaps. All right, all seems to be a-okay. No misfires, no weird starting, so we should be good. Again, the second test is drive it off. Once you guys have done that, you guys should be good from that point.